Hi, friends. Hello in the world. Welcome back to this episode of Tools for Transitioning Humanitarians. And I am trying to do this recording for the third time. And I'm hoping it works because the other two, it has been ruined in so many different ways. So let me start over and tell you the topic of today or this week, the tool that we all use as humanitarians so much, which is being of service, being of help to someone, right? Many of us go to humanitarian world believing, wanting to be of help, of service to the people who've suffered injustice or who are suffering injustice, and to alleviate pain or to help them in some ways, in particular ways. And that's the reason why we go into that humanitarian world. Now, what oftentimes then happens is that we get so much into the frustrations of things, disappointment of things, whether it's with systems, with the way things set up, the injustices are being so high. A lot of the reasons that we believe come up in the way of then us feeling or losing that feeling of service, or even if we keep wanting to do that, but then we feel like a lot of struggles or the obstacles come in our way. And then at some point, we're so disappointed that we just feel like we just have to get on and keep just doing whatever we have to do, excuse me, so that we can continue being in that stability, in that known circumstance, in that situation. And therefore, at some point, we just even get so protective of ourselves, of our feeling, because we've been so disappointed so many times that now we do the minimum necessary or we withdraw emotionally ourselves, and then we don't really are in the work as much as we used to maybe in the beginning or at some point when we're so much into being of service. So I really want to talk to you about how being of service, that tool that we use, how we may be using it at times that is not useful, that's actually harmful for us and for the people around us or for the people that were serving us, and how actually we can use it in the way that's the most useful. Before doing that, I really want to give maybe a bit of a definition of how I see being of service, what that means to me, and what that means to you. You should also look at it for yourself. And then I want to really show you how you might be using that tool in the way that's not useful for you and how you could be using in the way that's useful to you. So, feeling of being of service, or feeling or being of service to someone, to the greater cause, to solving injustices, to helping someone, really means for me is to act in the best interest of solving that problem, in the best interest of those people in solving that problem that we're talking about, right? In the best interest of that. It doesn't mean in the best interest of me and myself and my feelings. It means in the best interest of the thing that we're solving for the sake of those people, that whoever I'm serving, those people getting the things that they should or they want to. This is how in service or being of service looks like to me. Now, I see that many of us are getting or generating that feeling of being service from two different mindsets. And I really want to bring your awareness to it as to which mindset you use and what the outcome is. When we're using it from the mindset of victim mindset or the scarcity mindset or survival mindset, whichever the wording that is useful to you or you can relate to, take that one. And what I mean by that is really when we feel like we're lacking certain things, we're lacking recognition, we're lacking acceptance, we're lacking resources, we believe, when we are in that scarcity mindset, how we use this being of service is we use it as a way to compensate for what we're lacking, we believe, as individuals. Right? I used to be in that space as well when I started my career, especially as a humanitarian, I feel. And the way that it shows up is that because I'm trying to compensate this feeling of being useful, I'm compensating it for whatever I'm lacking, then I'm creating automatically the expectation to the people I'm serving by saying that if I do this, you need to be thankful for this. If I do this, you need to recognize my contributions. If I do this, then I really want you to be doing in a particular big way because I know better, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Is when I use this being of service tool from this mindset of I'm lacking something, from this mindset of I can only be whole as a human being. I can only be um, as me if I get this recognition and acceptance and how intelligent, how smart I am, whatever it is that I'm seeking that I'm not having. If I'm seeking from others, then I feel whole. This is when we keep generating a lot of frustrations and disappointments, a lot of anger, maybe even and a lot of energy lost in this process because we're constantly trying to get something from someone else for the things that we're doing. Now, when this is happening, we often get into this mode of then we need to do more, we need to do this, and we need to do that. And then at the same time, we feel like we're the only ones who are doing this. We feel like we're the only ones who care. We feel like we're the only ones who can do these things. We're the only ones who know the answers. And then everyone else becomes like a dependent of what we're providing in our minds, obviously, right? Then what we end up doing is we don't really treat other people as equals. We just treat ourselves as someone who knows better, who has all the answers or who will find all the answers, who has to work 24/7 to create and provide this so that we can get these input from others as to how great we are, how smart we are, or how independent we are, intelligent we are, whatever the thing that we're seeking. As soon as we get them, then we feel like we're good, and then we then continue doing and seeking more. And that way we continue putting ourselves in this cycle of never ending, never satisfying cycle where we never get satisfied until we get whatever we want to. And then that doesn't last long because we continuously feel like we're in lack and scarcity, right? Therefore, we need to do more to get more. And then the more we get, the more we want to do. And then this cycle of we will never arrive where we want to be. And then we get so exhausted in the process of it because we don't really take time off to rest, to really feel energized and refuel ourselves. We don't really do that. We feel like if we do that, we will lose all the recognition, all the things that we're seeking to get from others, right? And then we also tell ourselves this story that if we rest and recuperate, then we will everyone else will be lost without us, or all the things will just be destroyed or fall apart, whatever it is that we tell ourselves this story. And therefore, we don't allow ourselves to really sit back and reflect and recognize what's happening and why and how we can do it. And therefore, we are so exhausted now. We have a lot of frustrations as to how things are not going the way we want to, because maybe people are not following things the way we think they should be following. And therefore, now we start acting from that disappointment. We start acting from that resentment because we feel like we're doing all the things and things are not moving, things are not happening the way we think they should be. And then we're like exhausted. And then we keep doing this cycle and over to a point where we're burnt out and we don't really have any feelings. We feel numb. And then because we've been disappointed so many times, now we want to protect ourselves. And then because we want to protect ourselves, we emotionally withdraw ourselves from this, whatever we're doing. Now we're doing the minimum possible. And then we just feel like feeling in service or being of service really makes us feel burnt, right? Because we make this causation, we believe that I've been doing and giving, and I didn't receive anything, or even if I received, it was all disappointment, and therefore I will not be wanting to do that anymore. And that's why we start withdrawing ourselves. We don't really believe in what we're doing, and things start falling apart from there, actually. Now, this is when we receive, or we use the being of service tool, we use it from the scarcity mindset. And I really wanted you to see the consequences of it and how it plays out. Now, we also have the option of being of service, being of help, being of value to someone else, to a group of people, to communities, to individuals, whoever we're serving. We can do this. We can use this tool that we have, the feeling that we have of being of service, the being of service. We can use that tool from this contribution mindset, from this abundant mindset. And I love the contribution mindset is because we are doing this because we're just recognizing as human beings that we all want to be of help. We all want to be of creating something useful for someone else or for ourselves, right? We all, like, from nature, we have this contributory nature. At the same time, we want to grow through that experience as well. We want to grow and evolve through that experience. Now, when we're using this being of service tool from this mindset of contribution, we're not really trying to compensate this service to feel good about ourselves, or rather to compensate for what we're lacking, but rather we use it to feel proud of what we're doing, to feel good about what we're doing, to feel motivated to do more of it, but at the same time recognizing that we can only do this with so many other people, including the people who are receiving that service, right? We can only do that with them. We can only do that in partnership or in equality with them. And then also recognizing limitations along the way of doing that service. And the way that it looks like is that we know that we can provide that service and we want to provide the service or that help. We want to do that, but we also do that without expectation that they will give us the things that we are lacking, because we're not really lacking anything from that perspective, right? From this abundant contribution perspective, we know that we have the resources available to take care of ourselves, but we also know that we have enough other resources that we'll want to put into solving that problem, put into making that situation better, put it into fighting for that cause. We want to do that because we know that by doing that, we grow so much, we evolve so much. At the same time, that helps moving that solution of the problem further. It helps advancing certain progress. It helps unresolve certain injustices, right? So that's why I really want you to see how when we are doing this out of genuine service to solving the problem out there or solving our own problems and then sharing that with someone else, when we are doing that from that feeling of genuine service, when we're not expecting others to compensate for what we're lacking in terms of our emotions, in terms of our being, then it becomes so much more freer. It becomes so much more doable. And even if things don't go the way we want to, we can always then go to what other ways we can solve it, what other ways we can be of service to these people, what other ways we can help these people. And then we become more like conscious and strategic in how we can best serve them, instead of it being about our like inherent things that we're lacking, that we need someone else's input to feel satisfied, to feel better, to feel good about ourselves. Do you see the difference? And the reason why I really want to focus on this tool of being of service is that oftentimes I see that we're using it in the way to feel certain ways about ourselves. We're making it mean about ourselves, or we're making it mean about how we do and we don't really get anything in return, or we keep using it to feel frustrated and disappointed about a lot of things, instead of how can we use this tool of being of service in the way that moves the problem further, or resolves the problem, or advances certain issues, or um, helps alleviate the pain of certain people. How can we do that? Excuse me. While also not forgetting and looking at our own best interest in that moment, to keep refueling ourselves with our own resources so we can be doing that work more and more, right? Because the amazing part about feeling or being of service is that it has such a potential to make us feel not only proud and self-realized and feeling of contribution that we're doing in the world, but it also helps us really like understand the feeling of belonging, right? Feeling of being useful, feeling of being part of something, feeling of having this motivation to be doing more of it. And through that experience, also growing so much more and having even more resources to make available to that cause, make available to that change, make available to that resolution of things. And the more we do that, the more expansive we get, the more richer we get in our own evolution as humans. And then, therefore, we also start seeing how much we can create in the world, right? How much of the impact we can create in the world, and start doing it even more and more if we want to. So that's why, my dears, I really want you to be seeing for yourself how you're using this being of help, being of service, your own way of doing it. How are you doing it? Are you doing it to contribute to the bigger cause, to the bigger solutions of the problems, or to maybe even smaller solutions of the problem? Whatever it is, are you doing it in the best interest of um, solving that situation, or assisting those people? Or are you doing it to feel good about yourself, to feel fulfilled about yourself, and about how you're really lacking that fulfillment unless they give this to you? Um, because depending on how we're using that tool, we either are getting expansive and uh, creating more resources, more energy to be being part of that, um, working for that cause, part of that change, part of that improvement, part of that advancement, or we just end up keep solving the issues of how we're not getting to where we want to, how we're not receiving what we want to, or how we're like keep distilling the lack or whatever we are missing, and we keep just being in our own head, in our own emotions, and feeling like we can't really resolve them unless everyone else recognizes what we're doing, or unless um, everyone around us telling us how great we are, right? And then we get being so much in our own heads, in our own emotions, and then that way we lose a lot of our energy, a lot of our um, dedication, and we then get to a point of not really seeing the point of all the things that we're doing. And I really want you to not lose that amazing tool that we have, that of service. How can you use it in the most powerful, clean, um, genuine way of serving the best interest of those people that we're serving, the best interest of um, solving that situation? How can we do that? And at the same time, feeling energized and feeling empowered by doing it and growing through that process. So come coach with me to get yourself to this place of transitioning where you're really using this tool powerfully to advance the causes, to create the impact, instead of trying to keep solving a lot of the emotional problems through this work and then feeling like it's not helping you solve it, and therefore feeling like you don't really know what to do. Okay. So have an amazing week, everyone, and I will talk to you very soon.